Jeff, before we take a break on the final word this week, I think we should find time to do one number of...
Nerd Pledge. Nerd Pledge. It's the reverse quiz, the game we play with people on our Patreon page. They support the show. They fund the show by sending us contributions, but not normal amounts of currency, specific amounts, cricket amounts, and we have to work out what their number means. Our number today comes in from friend of the show, Alica Daly.
Hello.
And the number is $6.75.
Okay. Well, why don't we both have a swing at this, Jeff? I'll set them up and you knock them down. How do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like it.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Keaton Jet Jennings, who was the 675th Englishman to play Test cricket. It's never been taken as figures in international cricket, be it men or women. I also don't think she'll necessarily be talking about the 675 for 5 that India made against Pakistan at Multan in 2005 when Sehwag made his ridiculous 309 in just 375 balls with Sachin down the other end making an unbeaten 194. They won that test by an innings.
The declaration game, the one that everyone's still angry at Raul Dravid about.
Yeah, well, they win the test still, and Kumble takes 6 in the final innings. Stuff that Indian fans dream of, with the exception of Sachin not getting the 200. They, the very fact that they were able to get a massive win over Pakistan. I kind of touched on this before. Some of the tensions run so hot between the fans. But I don't want to do that because there's only one person on the final word shit list, and that's Verinder Sehwag. So we've celebrated him just enough.
Too much. Maybe that Alica does know the show well, and maybe she just wants to mock us by making us talk up Sehwag again.
It's possible. But on the basis that she knows the show well, I would imagine she would have been listening, Jeff, when we, a couple of years ago, well, not quite a couple of years ago, maybe about 20 months ago, we're at Brisbane, and Australia won in 3 days. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Who knows?
It was the Sri Lanka game in 2019.
2019. In that case it was more than, it's 2.5 years ago, Christ. And we went to the Ekka to record our program, and the Ekka is where the first test match was played, the exhibition ground in Brisbane of the 28-29 Ashes series, where England won by 675 runs, which remains the biggest margin by runs in Test cricket, which of course was Don Bradman's Test debut when he made 18 and 1, but England in the first innings making 521. Patsy Hendren made 169. They all kind of made runs though. Australia had an attack of Gregory, Kellaway, Grimmett, Ironmonger, Ryder, and Stork Henry. And then Australia all out 122.
After a busy day of dropping off babies down chimneys or whatever, however it works.
England, by contrast, had Larwood and Tate, which might give some sense as to why they were able to bowl out. The home side for 122. England, second time around, hit 342 for 8 just to punch the bruise, with Phil Mead making 73. Jardine, 65, not out, batting for the better part of 3 hours. And then they set Australia 742, and they were all out for 66, with a couple of absent hurt there with Kellaway and Gregory. I think both of those were courtesy of Harold Larwood. And Jack White took 4 for 7 to be the main destroyer in the second innings to make the margin 675 runs.
I know I've read that scorecard before, but it's still refreshingly brutal every time.
Yes.
To be set 700 and then not even get 100.
No.
I mean, ow.
Yeah, and they went on to win that series. Was it 4-0 or 4-1? 4-0, I think it was. 4-0. Bradman's first series as a Test cricketer. So that's where I left it, Jeff. That's my bid for Alicia.
They dropped him like a gun. Well, I also had a look at this, and I thought, because you had said that you couldn't find it anywhere as one of the more likely variations of numbers, and I thought, well, what if it's something else? What if it's more oblique? 6 for 75. I thought, who's hit 75 sixes? In Test cricket? Somebody has.
Really?
Tim Southee has.
Your boy.
Because Tim Southee got to 75 during the World Test Championship final that New Zealand won. Now, people sometimes talk about Tim Southee's six hitting, and he's done a fair bit of it. He's not quite the six-hitting monster that he's been made out to be, because he gets this big boost from hitting 9 of them on debut. So that helps. Out of your career total of 75, you knock off, 15% of them or whatever it is in your first test match. A hilarious test match when he makes 77 not out. It's still his highest score. It happens when you hit a half century in sixes, I guess. It was a real fuck it sort of innings. Second dig, they're 8 down when he comes out to the wicket, and they need 225 more to win against England in Napier. So they're not going to get him, but he just starts swinging. They still need 207 when Dan Vettori gets out. So they're 9 down at that point, and he's batting with Chris Martin, he of 104 innings batted in Test cricket, 36 ducks, 28 scores of naught not out. So that's 62 out of his 104 innings. He made 0 runs, either because he got out or because someone else got out because they thought he was about to get out. So Southee's obviously said, okay, no room to do anything except put everything over the fence. And that's what he did. Since then, he's never gone crazy like that again. He's never hit more than 3 sixes in innings, which is still quite a lot for a test innings, but he's hit 3 a handful of times and 2 a few times. But he hadn't hit a 6 in his last 10 test matches leading up to the World Test Championship final. Seemed to have lost the mojo somehow. And then in the first dig at Southampton, New Zealand get a lead of 32. Southee makes 30 right at the end, gets them that lead, hits 2 sixes and takes his career 6 tally up to 75, meaning he went past Ricky Ponting for career 6s. I love looking at some of the players that Southee has more 6s than. Clive Lloyd, Sachin Tendulkar, Ian Botham, Gordon Greenidge, A.B. de Villiers, Rohit Sharma, Carl Hooper, Jayasuriya, Jayawardene. So he's 15th on the all-time list.
I was going to say,
a couple more.
It's McCullum's the most, isn't it? Is McCullum the most?
McCullum's 107.
107.
And Gilchrist is 100.
Because McCullum hit his 100th 6 in his penultimate test match that we were at Wellington. And then, of course, in his final test innings, he hit 6 or 7 of them. 7. Right, okay, so it went from 100 to 107, right, yeah. So, which was one of the most ridiculous things I've seen in Test cricket. So 107, well, he's not really within striking distance of Baz. Who's second?
Gilchrist on 100 even.
Yeah, he won't get that.
And then Gale 98, Callis 97, which is interesting, I suppose, just by weight of cricket played. But he's only a couple short of MS Dhoni, could catch him. The duel is ongoing with Stokes, but he's 6 away from Peterson, could catch him. So, you never know. Tim Southee, he could play another few years.
And thanks, Alicia, for being a great supporter of what we've been doing over many years. Jeff, time for our mid-show break. When we return, we'll be talking about women's cricket. Internationals being played all over the world.